for anyone that doesn't know, we're going to have a very chill stream. It is Friday, so everyone should have a drink in their hand. Everyone should, be chilling, having some food. We're pretty much going to watch all the cutscenes and cinematics from Warcraft 3 Reforged, which is the HD remake of Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 being one of the most popular games back in the PC days, I think around 2000. And it's the game that pretty much made the whole RTS real-time strategy genre what it is today. It made Activision Blizzard the gigantic King Kong of gaming that it is, and it is also one of the greatest video game stories out there to date, and it spawned a franchise which is still going. It's huge. At its peak, I think it had about 20 or 22 million players playing World of Warcraft at one point in time. So we're pretty much just going back to the beginning with Warcraft 3, which is the first Warcraft game that I played. This is back when I didn't even speak English, so I'm going to be rewatching some of the stuff for the first time in a decade. And it's a great opportunity for anyone that's interested in Warcraft to sort of hop on, watch the story unfold, and see what it's all about. All right, Matt, you wanted to say something really quickly before we started watching. Go.
This right here, the cinematic that you guys are about to see, to tell you how important these cinematics are, every single hero and villain in 15 years of Warcraft is from there. Almost every single villain. All the big bads, all the heroes, all the villains, all the anti-heroes, all from there. One game spawned so many heroes, Blizzard still has some of those heroes today, and they're still pushing on with those. That's how powerful it is.
And chances are, even if you're not a Warcraft fan, you've seen some of the characters or some of the weapons or something. It's that iconic in gaming. Mind you, this is going to be all the Arthas and Sylvanas ones. We're going to cut. We're pretty much skipping some of the other campaigns, like the Orc campaigns and stuff. Don't worry about that. This is just pretty much the main story. It's easiest to follow because it's the human campaign. And the human campaign is like who we are being humans. So it's easily relatable for us. Alright, let's just charge into it.
We're too late. This entire city must be purged.
We've received reports that the orcs are regrouping.
Certainly the recent attacks against the internment camps are evidence enough.
Agreed. The Horde is on the move.
This is absurd. My nation will not stand by and watch as the Horde masses on our very doorstep.
The orcs are not our primary concern here. How many times must I repeat myself? King Terenas, you must heed my warning. This plague that has gripped the Northlands could have dire ramifications.
Plague? You wizards are just being paranoid.
Let's keep all this in perspective. Even if this plague does pose a threat to us, what are you proposing that we do?
It is simple. As I have said, the Kirin Tor are already prepared to place the villages under strict quarantine.
I will not institute quarantine without proof of your claims, Ambassador. The people of Lordaeron have suffered enough without becoming prisoners in their own lands.
Yet prisoners they are, good king.
What is the meaning of this? Who are you?
Humanity is in peril. The tides of darkness have come again, and the whole world is poised upon the brink of war.
Enough of this. Guards, remove this madman.
Hear me. The only hope for your people is to travel west, to the forgotten lands of Kalimdor.
Travel west? Are you mad?
Hold, Ambassador. I don't know who you are or what you believe, but this is not the time for wrangling prophets. Our lands are beset by conflict, but it shall be we who decide how best to protect our people, not you. Now, be gone!
I failed humanity once before, and I will not do so again. If you cannot take up this cup, then I shall find another who will. The warning has been given. Their fate is now their own.
Just to give a little context, you guys have probably already figured it out. It's almost the medieval ages, give or take medieval ages. There is magic. There are wizards. The guy did transform from a bird into a wizard, and he did give the king a warning, which of course he did not listen to. That's pretty much the be-all, end-all. They do mention a plague. They do mention being able to quarantine villages.
Not exactly in the medieval age. Kind of. It's weird. I wouldn't try to classify ages of World of Warcraft just because none of it makes any sense.
It doesn't later on, but you've got castles, you've got swords, you've got things like that. But, you know, give or take. They do...
We have tanks.
Steam tanks. But, okay, let's let it go. They do make mention of orcs, but you won't actually see them in these cutscenes because that's a separate story that we're not actually going into today. But I'm pretty sure everyone knows what an orc looks like. They're big, they're meaty, and they're green. Alright, let's continue.
Welcome, Prince Arthas. The men and I are honored by your presence.
Can the formalities, Uther. I'm not king yet. It's good to see you.
You too, lad. I'm pleased that King Terenas sent you to help me.
Father still hopes your patience and experience might rub off on me.
Well, it is a father's right to dream, isn't it?
Look, here's where we stand. Our scouts have confirmed that there is an orc encampment hidden somewhere over the next ridge.
As I suspected.
It gets worse. They're preparing to attack the nearby village of Stronbrad. As far as we know, the village is completely defenseless.
I need to move against the orcs' base immediately. Can you handle Stronbrad's defense on your own?
Of course, Uther. Don't worry about me.
Good. Meet me at the orc camp once you've saved the village. Be careful, Arthas.
Bless you, Prince Arthas.
But what about the others who were taken away?
Don't worry, son. We'll find them and bring them home safe.
Prince Arthas, Lord Uther needs you at the orc encampment immediately.
Never a dull moment. Let's get moving.
Ah, good timing, lad. I sent 2 of my best knights in to parley with the orc leader. They should be returning shortly. Damn. These orcs will never surrender.
Then let's get in there and destroy the beasts.
Remember, Arthas, we are paladins. Vengeance cannot be a part of what we must do. If we allow our passions to turn to bloodlust, then we will become as vile as the orcs.
Yes, Uther.
Now, if you're feeling up to it, I want you to lead the attack.
Me? Well, of course.
I'll remain here and ensure that none of the loathsome beasts threaten the camp.
I won't fail you.
I know you won't, lad.
As you can imagine, in between every single one of these cutscenes and cinematics is a mission. And like you saw, the previous mission was to defend the town. You've got, I think, a 5 or 10 minute timer that you have to pretty much build defenses, build troops, defend the town. And if you defend it, you've completed your objective. Mission 2, destroy the orc camp. Basically same thing. Build a small army, destroy the camp. You've completed that mission and the story progresses. Eventually, over time, it gets more complex. You unlock more units, you unlock more heroes, and the story opens up more and more and more.
You must be wiser than the king. The end is near.
I told you before, I'm not interested in this nonsense.
Then I've wasted my time here.
You can show yourself now, Jaina. He's gone.
I'm sorry for eavesdropping, Master, but...
It's your inquisitive nature that I've come to rely on, child. That crazed fool's convinced that the world is about to end.
I've heard the rumors of the plague spreading throughout the Northlands. Do you truly believe that the plague is magical in nature?
It's a strong possibility. That's why I need you to travel there and investigate the matter. I've arranged for a special envoy to assist you.
Yes, Master. I'll do my best.
I know you will, child. Farewell.
Prince Arthas, we've been waiting here for hours. Are you sure this friend of yours is coming? I'm sure. Jaina usually runs a little late.
We must help her!
Stay your blade, Captain. She can take care of herself. Gentlemen, meet Miss Jaina Proudmoore, Special Agent to the Kirin Tor, and one of the most talented sorceresses in the land. It looks like you haven't lost your touch. It's good to see you again, Jaina.
You too, Arthas. It's been a while since a prince escorted me anywhere.
Yes, it has. Well, I guess we should get underway.
Our sources believe the plague originated in the region north of here. We should check out the villages along the King's Road. It's as if the land around that granary is dying.
Could the grain itself be plagued?
Let's hope not. Those crates bear the regional seal of Anderholm, the distribution center for the northern boroughs. If this grain can spread the plague, there's no telling how many villages might be affected.
We've been discovered, my brothers. Flee and continue with the operation. I'm sorry I can't stay and chat. Duty calls.
That creature looks like it was sewn together from different corpses.
Let's study it after we kill it, okay?
Hello again, children. I am Kel'thuzad, and I've come to deliver a warning. Leave well enough alone. Your curiosity will be the death of you.
Are you responsible for this plague, Necromancer? Is this cult your doing?
Yes, I ordered the Cult of the Damned to distribute the plagued grain. But the sole credit is not mine.
What do you mean?
I serve the Dreadlord, Mal'Ganis. He commands the scourge that will cleanse this land and establish a paradise of eternal darkness.
And what exactly is this scourge meant to cleanse?
Why, the living, of course. His plan is already in motion. Seek him out at Stratholme if you need further proof.
Naive fool. My death will make little difference in the long run. For now, the scourging of this land begins.
Wait. What did those crates contain?
Just a grain shipment from Andorhal. There's no need to worry, my lord. It's already been distributed amongst the villagers.
Oh no. The plague was never meant to simply kill my people. It was meant to turn them into the undead. Defend yourselves! Light, give me strength.
For Lordaeron, for the king!
Uther, your timing couldn't have been better.
Don't celebrate yet, son. This battle's far from over. I'm surprised that you kept things together as long as you did, lad. If I hadn't arrived just then...
Look, I did the best I could, Uther. If I'd had a legion of knights riding at my back, I would have...
Now is not the time to be choking on pride. What we faced here was only the beginning. The undead ranks are bolstered every time one of our warriors falls in battle.
Then we should strike at their leader. I'll go to Stratholme and kill Mal'Ganis myself if I have to.
Easy, lad. Brave as you are, you can't hope to defeat a man who commands the dead all by yourself.
Then feel free to tag along, Uther. I'm going. With or without you.
So what ends up happening in a lot of these missions, particularly in this campaign, is you've seen the big abomination, which is that big pudge guy. If you've ever played, what was it called? It was the one that League of Legends was originated from, Dota, the original one. And they also have necromancers, which effectively raise corpses of dead people into basically the undead that fight for them. So essentially every time a soldier dies, he's raised up as a member of the enemy's ranks, which is kind of what Arthas is getting at. They just keep getting stronger and stronger. And because all the villagers have the plagued grain, the villagers die, turn into undead, and then the civilians start joining the ranks of the undead. So effectively, their army is just growing exponentially.
Greetings, young prince. We must talk.
I have no time for this.
Listen to me, boy. This land is lost. The shadow has already fallen, and nothing you do will deter it. If you truly wish to save your people, lead them across the sea, to the west.
Flee? My place is here, and my only course is to defend my people.
Then your choice is already made. Just remember, the harder you strive to slay your enemies, the faster you'll deliver your people right into their hands.
I'm sorry for concealing myself, Arthas. I just wanted to...
Don't say it.
I sense tremendous power about him, Arthas. Maybe he's right. Maybe he does know what will happen.
Nothing he can say will make me abandon my homeland, Jaina. I don't care if that madman has seen the future. Let's go. Oh no. We're too late. These people have all been infected. They may look fine now, but it's just a matter of time before they turn into the undead. This entire city must be purged.
What? How can you even consider that? There's got to be some other way.
Damn it, Uther. As your future king, I order you to purge this city.
You are not my king yet, boy. Nor would I obey that command even if you were.
Then I must consider this an act of treason.
Treason? Have you lost your mind, Arthas?
Have I? Lord Uther, by my right of succession and the sovereignty of my crown, I hereby relieve you of your command and suspend your paladins from service.
Arthas, you can't just...
It's done! Those of you who have the will to save this land, follow me. The rest of you, get out of my sight.
You've just crossed a terrible threshold, Arthas.
Jaina?
I'm sorry, Arthas. I can't watch you do this.
I've been waiting for you, young prince. I am Mal'Ganis. As you can see, your people are now mine. I will now turn this city household by household until the flame of life has been snuffed out forever.
I won't allow it, Mal'Ganis. Better that these people die by my hand than serve as your slaves in death. We're going to finish this right now, Mal'Ganis. Just you and me.
Brave words. Unfortunately for you, it won't end here. Your journey has just begun, young prince. Gather your forces and meet me in the Arctic land of Northrend. It is there that we shall settle the score between us. It is there that your true destiny will unfold.
I'll hunt you to the ends of the earth if I have to. Do you hear me? To the ends of the earth!
So much death. I can't believe Arthas could have done this.
Jaina Proudmoore!
Lord Uther?
Ah, Jaina. I thought I might find you here. Where has he gone, girl? Where has Arthas taken the fleet?
He came to me before he left. I pleaded with him not to go. I told him it sounded like a trap.
Where?
Northrend. He's gone to Northrend to hunt Mal'Ganis.
Damn that boy. I've got to inform King Tyrannus. Don't be too hard on yourself, girl. You had nothing to do with this slaughter.
The dead in this land might lie still for the time being, but don't be fooled. Your young prince will find only death in the cold north.
So for a little bit of context, that's one of the most iconic missions in Warcraft 3, where effectively for about 20 minutes, you're raising an army to slaughter the civilians of the city. That is the objective of the mission. So you're pretty much there to slaughter as many as you can before Mal'Ganis can turn them into the undead. And this is back before the year 2000. So it's like, yeah, start killing the civilians. Chop, chop. That's the objective.
Kuma, can I make a comment on this?
Go for it.
The thing about, you have to put yourself into Arthur's shoes. He's the Prince of Lordaeron. And people are turning into the undead. The thing is, Arthur was right on this section. There's no other choice you have. Either the whole land turns into zombies, or you wipe out, or you take out one city. Sorry to seem cold, but I've always supported Arthas and this reality of Stratholme. Whether he's right or wrong. The thing is, and that's what you don't see in the game. If you read the book Arthas Rise of the Lich King, which is a really good book, and if you love reading, I'd recommend it. It's the best book Blizzard ever released. and it told this in depth. What you don't see is the hard-fought battle Arthas had to do without Uther. Uther didn't get there. Uther didn't have to see the horrors of the good. He didn't have to see the horrors of the dead. He didn't have to see what they did. He came out at the end. Arthas knows what happened. He knows what the undead do. So he made the hard choice. Uther was never going to make that choice.
It's also one of the topics that's been heavily discussed for years, and there's a few even entire discussion documentary style videos of a what if scenario, what would have happened had they purged the city at this point in the story and quarantined the rest of the cities and the villages. And even at that point, they would not have been able to stop the plague. So at this point, it's already tilted. The balance has already tilted at this point, and this is only chapter 3 in the game itself. So it's already too late. But we'll see that as we continue.
This is a light-forsaken land, isn't it? You can barely even see the sun. This howling wind cuts to the bone and you're not even shaking. My lord, are you all right?
You lied to your men and betrayed the mercenaries who fought for you. What's happening to you, Arthas? Is vengeance all as important to you?
For context, what happened in between these two cutscenes was that everyone, his entire fleet arrived. They started pushing into Northrend, which is absolutely freezing. It's almost Antarctica when it comes to the temperature. And a lot of the men decided that they wanted to leave and go home. So what Arthas ended up doing was that he found mercenary camps spread throughout the land, hired the mercenaries, and while his soldiers were trying to get back to the ships that were taking the long way around the forest, he used the mercenaries to cut through the forest and use them to end up burning the ships. So he effectively burnt their only way home. And then he blamed it on the mercenaries, and his men killed the mercenaries. So when Muradin says, you lied to your men and betrayed the mercenaries that fought for you, that's what he means. He didn't tell the men that he was the one that hired the mercenaries to burn the ships. He just blamed it on the mercenaries after they did their job. And now they're stuck on Northrend. They have no choice but to go deeper. Yep.
For the context of people who've never seen Northrend, the best way to describe Northrend, it is a frozen hellhole filled with bugs, undead, and walrus people.
And there's basically next to no food, and it's cold.
Once again, I linked that all in with the frozen hellhole, but it is absolutely terrible. Oh, and there's an old god person in there too, but let's not start that one.
Yeah, let's just keep it minimal for context. And in the context of this, that's what Muradin meant. And pretty dick move.
Oh, spare me, Muradin. You weren't there to see what Mal'Ganis did to my homeland.
Question. In the Warcraft universe, can one person be turned undead multiple times? Or when the person that was turned undead dies, they can't be raised again? When they say turn them to the undead, it's pretty much the raising of their physical body, putting life back into it, and they're pretty much controlled but what you will soon see as being either the Lich King or the Dreadlords. So when they say the Dreadlords are commanding the undead scourge, they literally mean they are controlling them. The undead don't actually have free will. They're effectively just like a zombie that follows the will of the person controlling them. And in this case, it's Mal'Ganis, the big Dreadlord with the horns. He's the one controlling the undead.
And
when they die, they can be resurrected again as pretty much skeletons, but they're going to be a lot weaker and they're not even going to have any remnants of consciousness. Yep.
One of the things about the undead, real quick, I'll say that there are two types of undead when it comes to the. You have the mindless undead, which are basically mindless. They don't have any will. They're basically being controlled. Then there are the undead who basically souls have been shoved back into their bodies, and they're dead, They're in between dead and alive. They're undead, but they still have their own souls. So
what Matt is talking about is you'll see later in the story that some people that were killed forcibly had their souls put back into their body and effectively reanimated. So the body is dead, but it continues to live. You'll see. You'll see. Which is sometimes considered a punishment worse than death.
About undead in the universe.
Yeah. All right, let's continue. Oh, and at this point in the story, he's effectively following a legend which says that there is a rune blade somewhere in Northrend that is extremely powerful. And so in this mission and part of the story, he goes off on this exhibition to find the rune blade. What function does the undead body of a person who has had their soul stuffed in back in have? Pretty much their body works as a normal body, but they don't necessarily have to eat and they can't exactly reproduce because the body is still dead. You're effectively a walking corpse.
It's also rotting.
You're a walking corpse. Pretty much, yeah, you're rotting. Don't let any dogs near you. Alright, let's continue.
Behold, Muradin, our salvation. Frostmourne.
Halt, lad. There's an inscription on the dais. It's a warning. It says, "Whomsoever takes up this blade shall wield power eternal. Just as the blade rends flesh, so must power scar the spirit." Oh, I should have known. The blade is cursed. Let's get the hell out of here.
I would gladly bear any curse to save my homeland.
Oh, leave it be, Arthas. Forget this business and lead your men home.
Damn the men! Nothing shall prevent me from having my revenge, old friend. Not even you. Now, I call out to the spirits of this place. I will give anything or pay any price, if only you will help me save my people.
Arthas, where is Muradin? We can't hold out for much longer.
Muradin is dead. But take heart, Captain. The enemy will not stand long against the might of Frostmourne.
So, you've taken up Frostmourne at the expense of your comrades' lives, just as the Dark Lord said you would. You're stronger than I thought.
You waste your breath, Mal'Ganis. I heed only the voice of Frostmourne now.
You hear the voice of the Dark Lord. He whispers to you through the blade you wield. What does he say, young human? What does the Dark Lord of the Dead tell you now?
He tells me that the time for my vengeance has come.
What? He can't possibly mean to...
It is finished.
This is probably worth reading. After taking his vengeance upon Mal'Ganis, Prince Arthas wandered off into the frozen wastelands of Northrend. Tormented by Frostmourne's maddening voice, Arthas lost the last vestiges of his sanity. Now driven by the sword's dark will, Arthas plans to return home to Lordaeron and reclaim his just reward. Or claim his just reward.
Ah, my son. I knew you'd be victorious.
No longer need to sacrifice for your people. You no longer need to bear the weight of your crown. I've taken care of everything.
What is this? What are you doing, my son?
Succeeding you, father.
This kingdom shall fall, and from the ashes shall arise a new order that will shake the very foundations of the world.
What a waste of a good crown. It's quite a... on second viewing, and you will probably notice this after you watch it the first time, there's a lot of thought that went into that cutscene. A big one is that you see that, one, his armor has changed, and two, when the petal actually falls on his hand and the glove, it begins to wither as soon as he touches it. It begins to die straight away. There's something I will mention a little bit later, but the curse of the blade and the warning has already come into play. It's not only that he hears the voice of the blade, but in fact that as soon as you begin to use it, it actually absorbs your soul. So at this point already, Arthas' soul is already in the blade. He is no longer the human holding the sword, but in fact his soul is in the blade, and it's what's keeping the corpse alive. He's practically already undead. He just doesn't realize it.
One thing to note, Kuma.
Yep, go.
Thing about this trailer, the cutscene, the two people that you guys see in the background, they don't mention this in Warcraft 3, but the names are Captain Firework and Marwyn. They are the closest captain, his closest confidant, and they have followed him through his entire life. They are very vital to the fact that they followed him in there. Even they have changed when they came back in. Second thing, if you actually go to the Rent of Illidan, you can still see the blood stains on the floor.
That's if you're playing it in World of Warcraft, so it's very iconic. Very iconic.
Yeah, they still have the blood stains and the splatter from where the crown hit. So yeah, still there. You may go.
Yep.
What trickery is this? Mal'Ganis! I don't know how you survived, but I will...
Calm yourself, Prince Arthas. I am Tichondrius. Like Mal'Ganis, I am a Dreadlord. But I am not your enemy. In truth, I've come to congratulate you.
Congratulate me?
By killing your own father and delivering this land to the Scourge, you have passed your first test. The Lich King is pleased with your enthusiasm.
Yes, I've damned everyone and everything I've ever loved in his name. And I still feel no remorse, no shame, no pity.
The rune blade that you carry was forged by the Lich King and empowered to steal souls. Yours was the first one it claimed.
Then I'll make do without one. What is the Lich King's will?
The cult of the damned must be rallied once again. Many of the acolytes have been in hiding amongst the populace. Once you've rallied them, I will give you further instructions.
This crude contraption
will allow you to transport the remains of our master.
Can you not simply raise the remains when we find them?
Pardon, Lord, but a being of Kel'Thuzad's power can only be reanimated at a nexus of powerful ley energies, and there are no such places in this land.
Very well then. Let's move out. Come along now, Necromancer. The powers that you once served have need of you again.
Told you, my death would mean little.
What the? Am I hearing ghosts now?
It is I, Kel'Thuzad. I was right about you, Prince Arthas.
It took you long enough. These remains are badly decomposed. They will never survive the trip to Quel'Thalas.
Quel'Thalas?
Yes. Only the energies of the High Elves' Sunwell can bring Kel'Thuzad back to life.
Then what must be done?
You must steal a very special urn from the Paladin's keeping. Place the Necromancer's remains within it, and he will be well protected for the journey.
As you wish.
Your father ruled this land for 70 years, and you've ground it to dust in a matter of days.
Very dramatic, Uther. Give me the urn, and I'll make sure you die quickly.
The urn holds your father's ashes, Arthas. What? Were you hoping to piss on them one last time before you left his kingdom to rot?
I didn't know what it held. Nor does it matter. I'll take what I came for one way or another.
I dearly hope that there's a special place in hell waiting for you, Arthas.
We may never know, Uther. I intend to live forever.
And there's the moment from the first Afterlives cinematic, the moment Uther dies. And not only that, he's using the urn that holds his father's ashes to carry the remains of Kel'Thuzad, which is the guy that spread the plague. So to add insult to injury, you could sort of understand why Uther was a little pissed, considering Arthas was pretty much, I wouldn't say an apprentice, but he was kind of under him learning. He was mentoring him, in the very least, one, to become a paladin, which is pretty much...
he was an apprentice.
Like the name suggests, to become a holy man that fights for righteousness. And here's your prince. So, a little pissed. You could sort of understand where he's coming from.
Excellent work. Now your journey to Quel'Thalas can begin.
So Frostmourne is continually making him do things to further darken his soul. His soul has already been removed from his body, but in a way, his spirit and his soul has been polluted and broken. It's constantly whispering at the back of his mind what he should be doing. And that was seen in the scene where he slays his father. You can hear the voice. We can actually hear what's going through his mind. Now imagine that playing again and again and again, just constantly telling you what to do. We saw it in the beginning when he was fighting Mal'Ganis. He was listening to the blade. At the beginning, it was very helpful. You know, it would tell him, kill this person this way. You should do this. This is how you can win. And then it started telling him things that he wanted to hear, like, kill Mal'Ganis, get your vengeance. And then after a while, it was too late. It's effectively brainwashing you. It's corrupted your soul to that point. It's very difficult to resist at that point.
One thing about the whole soul thing. Sorry, the whole soul thing is the fact that you have to understand that Arthur said it himself, I feel no more, no pity. He didn't feel anything for it. But in the fact of the matter is, he said it himself, he felt none of that because he doesn't have a soul anymore. It's gone. If you don't have your soul, how can you feel happiness, joy, sadness, anger? How can you feel anything when it's the soul that feels it? They took away the very thing, that was the very first thing that came.
Yeah.
That's why Stratholme was such a big thing. Stratholme was the first thing he ever did with his soul. That was the only thing he did that he had his soul in. Everything else was done after he lost his very soul.
At that point, he didn't feel it. He just felt hollow. All right, let's continue.
Tell him nothing. Only you can hear me. The Dread Lords cannot be trusted. They are the Lich King's jailers. I will tell you all when I walk this world again.
Is everything proceeding as planned, Tychondrius? Lord Archimonde demands a report on the Scourge.
The Lich King's young Death Knight has been performing well. Almost too well. I begin to wonder if Ner'zhul has ulterior motives for his new champion.
The human means nothing in the long run. Ner'zhul wouldn't dare undermine our efforts now.
Our only concern is that the Scourge accomplishes what it was created to do. Archimonde will have all our heads if we do not keep control of this situation.
Believe me, brother. Neither the Lich King nor his undead lackeys will jeopardize the Legion's return.
See that they do not. Lord Archimonde has little patience for failure.
And I love in that little scene, they hint that, yeah, the Scourge, bad. Lich King, bad. Frostmourne, bad. But there's someone even bigger than that. And you're just going like, well, shit, now there's 3 of them. And they're scared of someone even bigger. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. The plot thickens.
Ah, the wondrous, eternal Quel'Thalas. I haven't been here since I was a boy.
Be wary. The elves likely wait in ambush.
The frail elves do not concern me, Necromancer. Our forces are strengthened with every foe we slay.
Don't be too overconfident, Death Knight. The elves must not be taken lightly.
To give a little bit of an answer without saying too much about what happens in World of Warcraft, because it does tie in with this story. Frostmourne is like one of the legendary artifact weapons. It's a rune blade. It's not even built in the realm in which the humans live. It is like something that God made and then just left on the planet and is like, whoops, I forgot about this blade that can just so happen to not only mortally kill you, but suck your soul out and entrap it and then raise you into the undead and control you. It's that magnitude of power. Unfortunately, no player can get it for story reasons, but also for the sheer practicality of if a player could get it, game over. Like, game over, logically. But there are a lot of very, very powerful weapons that are not that powerful.
As a player, played Warcraft for World of Warcraft for 15 years and played the game for played Warcraft series for 25 years. If I saw people walking around with Frostmourne, I'm instantly to quit. Because the idea of a player walking around with the legendary blade Frostmourne is so wrong Blizzard would never do that. It's just so wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you could if you're a sort of like myth sort of enthusiast, it would be on par with the Lance of Longinus, which is effectively the spear that's like killed Christ, and the legend is that it gives its holder immortality. It's basically on par with that. Could you imagine everyone running around with one of those? Alright, they're pretty much jumping into Quel'Thalas to resurrect Kel'thuzad. And this is one of my favorite parts of the game, which I've only played through, I believe, once or twice. Didn't understand English that much, but it has one of the best characters in the Warcraft franchise, in my opinion, in this chapter of the game. Matt would probably disagree, but, like, you know, it is what it is. Thank you, Hutchin, you're the best.
Must not be taken lightly.
She's the best.
You are not welcome here. I am Sylvanas Windrunner, Ranger General of Silvermoon. I advise you to turn back now.
It is you who should turn back, Sylvanas. Death itself has come to your land.
Do your worst. The Elf Gate to the Inner Kingdom is protected by our most powerful enchantments. You shall not pass. Fall back to the second gate. Fall back!
The Elf Gate has fallen. Onward, my warriors. Onward to victory.
You've won through this gate, Butcher, but you won't get through the second. The inner gate to Silvermoon can only be opened with a special key, and it shall never be yours.
You waste your time, woman. You cannot outrun the inevitable.
You think that I'm running from you? Apparently, you've never fought elves before.
Damn that woman! We must find a way to cross the river.
For context, for people that were playing this for the first time, the difficulty curve of these missions meant that a lot of people would fail them time and time again. It's stacked against you. You have to push through. Their army just keeps bringing in reinforcements. You're on a timer. The resources are not on your side. Numbers are not on your side. And she's basically pounding you from all directions. So, yes, the player would become very frustrated.
Finally. The gates have been opened. Once we've dealt with Sylvanas, the Inner Kingdom shall be ours.
Damn you, monsters! What will it take to drive you back?
The Ranger woman is starting to vex me greatly.
You've done well, so far. But the true test still lies before you.
I was wondering when you'd show up.
I am here to ensure that you do your job, little human. Not to do it for you.
I will reach the Sunwell on my own, Dreadlord.
Be warned. It is a pool of mystical energy from which the elves draw their immortal powers. They will not give it up easily.
Do you think he suspects that you've been aiding me, Necromancer?
I'm sure he suspects quite a bit. It is his nature to assume the worst. Now steel yourself. The hour of my rebirth draws near.
Finish it. I deserve a clean death.
After all you've put me through, woman, the last thing I'll give you is the peace of death.
No, you wouldn't dare.
Finally.
Citizens of Silvermoon, I have given you ample opportunities to surrender, but you have stubbornly refused. Know that today, your entire race and your ancient heritage will end. Death itself has come to claim the high home of the elves. Now arise, Kel'thuzad, and serve the Lich King once again.
As promised, the Lich King has granted me eternal life.
I've upheld my end of the bargain, Lich. Are you ready to tell me about the Dreadlords now?
Certainly, but not here. They have eyes and ears everywhere. We'll talk where it's safe.
One thing that should be noted is that she died while she was buying time for an evacuation of the citizens. So she didn't necessarily die in combat while doing combat. She basically died holding the line to buy time for civilians to evacuate. Which some of them did, but a lot of them weren't able to, because the amount of undead that were attacking the city was just unbeatable. She was a sandbag. I'm gonna continue.
So, you're not upset about me killing you that one time?
Don't be foolish. The Lich King told me how our encounter would end.
The Lich King knew that I would kill you?
Of course. He chose you to be his champion long before the Scourge even began.
If he's so all-knowing, then how can the Dreadlords control him like they do?
They are agents of the ones who created our master, the fiery lords of the Burning Legion.
What is this Legion?
It is a vast demonic army that has consumed countless worlds beyond our own. Now it comes to set this world to the flame. Our master was created to pave the way for its arrival. The Dreadlords were sent to make sure that he succeeded.
So the Plague in Lordaeron, the citadels in Northrend, the slaughtering of the elves, it was all just to prepare for some huge demonic invasion?
Yes. In time, you will find that our entire history has been shaped by the coming conflict. Now come, we have much work to do.
Talk about being a pawn in a grander scheme.
Isn't it time you told me about the second phase of the plan, Lich?
Certainly. The first phase of the Lich King's plan was to engineer the Scourge, which would eradicate any group that might resist the Legion's arrival.
Like the forces of Lordaeron and the High Elves.
Exactly. The second phase is to actually summon the Demon Lord, who will spark the invasion.
So where are we going now?
There is a nearby encampment of Blackrock orcs who maintain a functional demon gate. I must use the gate to commune with the Demon Lord and receive his instructions. I call upon thee, Archimonde. Your humble servant seeks an audience.
Without getting into it too much, they revealed the Burning Legion a couple of missions ago, and they show you that the Scourge itself is just a pawn in a much larger sort of plan, a much larger machine. They are pawns of the Burning Legion, and the Burning Legion, like they showed you, is this huge demonic force which has conquered, I'd say, thousands of worlds, thousands of planets around the cosmos. And the Dreadlords that you see are effectively, I wouldn't even say captains of the Burning Legion. They are just effectively foot soldiers, scouts even. And as you see, Arthas and Kel'thuzad and even the Lich King, they're just there to wipe out anyone that can oppose the arrival of them.
Infinite army a demonic army caused who were trying to destroy all life, led by an insane psychopath titan or god.
Yeah,
that's it.
Basically, without getting into it too much, I didn't want to mention it, but yeah, it's effectively led by a titan. If you want to think of it as an army of demons led by the devil, you wouldn't exactly be wrong.
You called my name,
not really,
Lich, and I have come. You are Kel'thuzad, are you not?
Yes, Great One. I am the summoner.
Very well then. There is a special tome you must find. The only remaining spellbook of Medivh, the Last Guardian. Only his lost incantations are powerful enough to bring me into your world.
Where should we search for it, Great One?
Seek out the mortal city of Dalaran. It is there that the tome is kept. At twilight, 3 days from now, you will begin the summoning.
Wizards of the Kirin Tor, I am Arthas, first of the Lich King's Death Knights. I demand that you open your gates and surrender to the might of the Scourge.
Greetings, Prince Arthas. How fares your noble father?
Lord Antonidas, there's no need to be snide.
We've prepared for your coming, Arthas. My brethren and I have erected auras that will destroy any undead that pass through them.
Your petty magics will not stop me, Antonidas.
Pull your troops back, or we will be forced to unleash our full powers against you. Make your choice, Death Knight. It pains me to even look at you, Arthas.
I'll be happy to end your torment, old man. I told you that your magics could not stop me. Let's take it and leave before the wizards amass for their final attack.
Indeed. I will begin summoning Lord Archimonde at sunset.
The Circle of Power has been prepared per your instructions, Lich. Are you ready to begin the summoning?
Nearly. I've been reading through Medivh's spellbook. His knowledge of demons alone is staggering. I suspect that he was far more powerful than anyone ever realized.
Not powerful enough to escape death, that is for certain. Suffice to say, the work he began, we will finish today. Let the summoning commence.
Come forth, Lord Archimonde. Enter this world and let us bask in your power.
Tremble, mortals, and despair. Doom has come to this world. You have done well, little Lich. My plan worked perfectly. Lord Archimonde, all the preparations have been made. Very well, Tichondrius. Since the Lich King is of no further use to me, you Dreadlords will now command the Scourge. As you wish, Lord Archimonde. Soon, I will order the invasion to begin. But first, I will make an example of these paltry wizards by crushing their city into the ashes of history.
This has got to be a joke. What happens to us now?
Be patient, young Death Knight. The Lich King foresaw this as well. You may yet have a part to play in his grand design.
Agir, Udal, Utarus. Agir, Modas, Betalum. Dalentaro, Ildas, Glaku. Retul Zetharas Amanar, Kutamus. Belar Sumaris, Azaratha, Rakas, Ilkula. Belanora, Mordanos Melar, Ilamur no falos Cata.
And he just destroyed the city of Dalaran, and that's where Jaina was studying to be a mage. Nice.
And don't
I am
ask how that
free
works.
after 10,000 years. Yet still my own brother thinks I am a villain. I'll show him my true power. I'll show him that the demons have no hold over me.
Just to give you a little bit of context, Illidan, you start playing the Night Elf campaign. They're not the High Elves like Sylvanas, but they are the Night Elves. They are purple in color, and blue sometimes. And part of that campaign is to free Illidan Stormrage from a prison underground where he has been kept for 10,000 years. As you can imagine, Night Elves are immortal, so prison sentences are a long thing.
Wrongfully.
Yes, minor detail, but let's not get into that right now. And so one of the first missions is to actually free him. You play a priestess who Illidan sort of has a thing for, but she doesn't have a thing for him. So Illidan's free. And Arthas meets him.
Are you certain of that, Demon Hunter? Are you certain your will is your own?
You reek of death, human. You'll regret approaching me.
Come then. You'll find that we're evenly matched.
We could go on fighting like this forever. What is it you truly want?
The Dreadlord who commands this undead army is called Tichondrius. He controls a powerful warlock artifact called the Skull of Gul'dan. It is responsible for corrupting these forests.
And you wish for me to steal it? Why?
Let's just say that I have no love for Tichondrius, and the Lord I serve would benefit from the Legion's downfall.
Why should I believe anything you say, little human?
My master sees all, Demon Hunter. He knows that you've sought power your whole life. Now it lies within your grasp. Seize it, and your enemies will be undone.
For a little bit of context, the reason why Illidan was imprisoned originally was because he absorbed power from the Sunwell, where the Night Elves drew power from. And he only did this as a means to defend his people. He didn't do it out of some desire to be powerful or more powerful than anybody. He basically did it to have the strength to defend his people. In a way, he's a little bit of a contrast to Arthas, who sort of took up Frostmourne to defend his people too, but you know how the story goes about getting power.
It's been months since we last heard from Lord Archimonde. I grow tired of watching over these rotting undead. What are we still doing here?
For a little bit of context. One of the missions, I forget which campaign it is, Archimonde essentially tries to destroy the World Tree, which is, again, another magical tree which gives life to a lot of elves and immortality too. So Archimonde goes to destroy the tree because not only is it a symbol of hope and immortality and the elves, it's also a big fucking tree. So, you know, it's a big statement. And part of the mission there, the humans band together, the Night Elves band together, the Orcs band together, and the mission, it's the finale for Warcraft III, and the mission is effectively to hold off Archimonde's assault. You start off playing, I believe, as the Orcs. You try to hold off as long as you can. It works on a timer. I think it's about 15-20 minutes. Once you hold off for 15-20 minutes, everyone falls back to the next camp because the army just keeps going. The undead, the demon army just keeps going. The next base defense also falls. The third one also falls. Archimonde finally makes it to the tree.
Actually, I think it's humans then orcs.
Sure. What ends up happening when Archimonde gets to the tree? Thousands and thousands of wisps, which are basically very weak Night Elves that have died in spirit form, start kamikazing, committing suicide on him at the same time, and they manage to end up killing him. This is the beginning of the campaign of Frozen Throne, which is the DLC. It's a game on top of Warcraft 3. And at this point, the Demon Lords don't actually know that he's dead. Kind of awkward. But that's basically the gist of it for context.
We were charged with overseeing this land.
When nobody tells you your boss is dead.
Yeah, basically. That's basically it. And also for a little bit more context regarding Chapter 8, that is sort of mentioned at Sylvanas' betrayal. The Lich King has grown weaker, and his hold over the undead scourge that he controls is weaker and weaker and weaker. And as a result, some of the more powerful undead start breaking free of his hold. That's also a bit of a context in this chapter without saying too much.
It's been months since we last heard from Lord Archimonde. I grow tired of watching over these rotting undead. What are we still doing here? We were charged with overseeing this land, Deatherok. It is our duty to remain here and ensure that the Scourge is ready for action. True, though we should have received some kind of orders by now.
The Legion was defeated months ago. How could they not know?
Impossible to say. But the longer they remain in command, the more they run the Scourge into the ground.
What? Who could possibly...
Greetings, Dreadlords. I should thank you for looking after my kingdom during my absence. However, I won't be requiring your services any longer.
Prince Arthas, this land is ours. The Scourge belongs to the Legion.
Not anymore, Demon. Your masters have been defeated. The Legion is undone. Your deaths will complete the circle.
Never! This isn't over, human.
We knew you would return to us, Prince Arthas.
I have returned, Lich, but you will now address me as king. This is, after all, my land. Now we must secure the kingdom by scouring the last remnants of humanity from it.
But my king, the humans have begun to abandon their villages. They are fleeing to the canyon passes. If they escape into the mountains, it will be impossible to hunt them all down.
Then we must slaughter them before they escape. Their deaths will be a fitting tribute to Ner'zhul. The pain is unbearable. What is happening to me?
Danger draws near. Power is fading. Time is running out.
King Arthas, do you need assistance?
No, the pain is past. But my powers are diminished. Something is terribly wrong here. At last, the Alliance is finished. Once we round up the last stragglers, we should be... not again.
It is I, the Lich King. Danger draws near the frozen throne. You must return to Northrend immediately. Obey.
My king, you are not well.
Take me back to the capital. I have a long journey ahead of me.
Lady Sylvanas, we are pleased that you came.
How could I not? For some reason, I no longer hear the Lich King's voice in my head. My will is my own once again. You Dreadlords seem to know why.
We've discovered that the Lich King is losing his power. As it wanes, so too does his ability to command undead such as you.
And what of King Arthas? What about his powers?
Though his rune-blade Frostmourne carries powerful enchantments, Arthas' own powers will fade in time. It is inevitable.
You seek to overthrow him, and you want my help to do it.
The Legion may be defeated, but we are the Nathrazim. We'll not let some upstart human get the best of us. Arthas must fall. The Lich Kel'thuzad is far too loyal to betray his master. But you, on the other hand...
Hate him. I have my own reasons for seeking vengeance. Arthas murdered my people and turned me into this monstrosity. I may take part in your bloody coup, but I will do so in my own way.
I, for one, do not trust her. Her heart is still elven. She will never side with us. Don't be too hasty. She has great spirit, but her hatred for Arthas will ultimately serve our cause. Agreed. Well, if that's settled, let the festivities commence.
So the seizures have been getting worse?
Yes. With my powers drained, I can barely command my own warriors. The Lich King warned me that if I didn't reach Northrend soon, all could be lost.
Fear not, my king. Everything is being prepared for your departure. The ships are waiting at the coast, and...
There's been a change of plans, King Arthas. You're not going anywhere.
Assassins! It's a trap!
You should never have returned, human. Weakened as you are, we have assumed control over the majority of your warriors. It seems your reign was short-lived.
There are too many of them, my king. Flee! Escape from the city! I'll find my own way out and meet you in the wilderness.
All right, Lich. Good luck. We have no time for this. We must find our way out quickly. You have my thanks, ladies. But where is your mistress? Where is Sylvanas?
She sent us to find you, Great King. We've come to escort you across the river. Once we cross it, we'll take refuge in the wilderness. This is the place, sisters. We'll rest here, Great King.
Why here? We've got to find Kel'thuzad before we...
You have been deceived. Come to my side at once. Obey.
What is happening here? Sylvanas.
We walked right into this one, Arthas. It's time to even the scales.
Traitor! What have you done to me?
It's a special poisoned arrow I made just for you. The paralysis you're experiencing now is but a fraction of the agony you've caused me.
Finish me, then.
A quick death? Like the one you gave me? No. You're going to suffer as I did. Thanks to my arrow, you can't even run. Give my regards to Hell, you son of a bitch.
Back, you mindless ones! You shall not fall to
This isn't over, Arthas. I'll never stop hunting you.
And she never did. No, it's not my first time seeing this, but for a lot of people it is. For a lot of people it is.
The effect of her arrow will wear off in time. All the preparations for your journey to Northrend have been made.
You have been a loyal friend, Kel'thuzad. I don't know what the future holds, or if I'll even return. But I want you to watch over this land. See to it that my legacy endures.
I shall, King Arthas. I shall.
For context, Kel'thuzad is the final boss of World of Warcraft. The first one without any expansions. He's basically the final boss.
Then they brought him back later on.
You seem troubled, mistress.
Aren't you, sister? Only days ago we were the Lich King's slaves. We existed only to slaughter in his name. And now, we are free.
I don't understand, mistress. I thought you'd be overjoyed.
What joy is there in this curse? We are still undead, sister. Still monstrosities. What are we if not slaves to this torment?
Greetings, Lady Sylvanas. My brothers and I appreciate the role you played in overthrowing Arthas. I've come to offer you a formal invitation to join our new order.
Baron Mothras. My only interest was in seeing Arthas dead. I have no time for your petty politics or power-mongering.
Careful, my lady. It would be unwise to incur our wrath. We are the future of these plague lands. You can either join us and rule, or be cast aside.
I lived as a slave long enough, Dreadlord. I won't relinquish my freedom by shackling myself to you fools.
So be it. Our reply will come soon.
demon?
Sylvanas, spare my life. I beg you. I can be of service. I swear it.
Just like a demon, you'd sell your brethren out just to save your own skin. I'm listening.
I know what my brother's plans are. I know where their forces are based. Just let me serve you, and I'll help you defeat them.
All right, Arthas. I'll let you prove your loyalty to me. But be warned, I'm keeping you on a short leash.
Northrend. It feels like a lifetime since I was last here. Something out there is threatening the Lich King. We must reach Icecrown quickly.
My king, we'll need to establish a base here first. But this island is nearly devoid of resources.
What the? They look like high elves. What are they doing here?
Prince Arthas, we are the Blood Elves. We have sworn to avenge the ghost of Kel'thuzad. This dead land will be cleansed.
Northrend belongs to the Scourge, elf. You made a terrible mistake by coming here. Slay them!
Onward for the Scourge. Slay them in Ner'zhul's name.
That's what we call an Australian spider.
Who the... Thanks for the assistance, Mighty One.
The Lich King sent me to aid you, Death Knight. I am Anubarak, ancient king of Azul-Nerub.
I welcome your aid, Anubarak, but we have little time for pleasantries. We must reach Icecrown immediately.
You've done well, Arthas. You've led us straight to Deathrok's stronghold. But tell me, who are those humans?
Deathrok used his telepathy to enslave a top-ranking human warlord. I believe his name was Garaban or Gilithos or something. Human names all sound the same to me. Instead of stamping it out, Deathrok has taken control of the last pocket of human resistance. They maintain their own army within the keep.
Your brother is more clever than I thought. His defenses are considerable.
Yes. And with this paltry force you've mustered, a direct assault on his walls would be suicide.
I have no intention of assaulting the walls.
Then let's go before he...
My banshees will possess those hapless humans. We'll use them to open the gates for us.
You realize we'll have only a short amount of time before he discovers what we're up to.
Of course. If we strike quickly enough, Deathrok will never know what hit him.
To arms!
Whom do you serve, human?
The Dark Lady. I am hers to command.
The patrol has returned. Open the gates.
Ready yourselves. The moment is upon us. Now, my warriors, strike!
The spell has been lifted. Is the nightmare finally over?
Stand down, humans. I have no quarrel with you.
What is it you want, elf witch?
We have a common enemy. The last Dreadlord Balnazar currently controls the capital city of your kingdom. If you help me kill him, I'll see to it that you get your lands back.
Why should we trust you? You're part of the scourge that drove us out in the first place.
Not anymore. My only interest here is vengeance.
Very well. I'll rally what's left of my forces and meet you outside the gates.
Come now. You have no intention of giving them their lands back.
Of course not. The humans are simply a means to an end.
You sound more like one of us with every passing day, my lady.
Watch it, Dreadlord.
The capital city is heavily defended. Balnazar is no fool, my lady. This battle can be won only through attrition.
What's the matter, demon? Are you afraid?
Watch your tongue, human dog. Your hollow bravado does not impress.
Stand down, gentlemen. Save your anger for Balnazar. Garithos, I'll lead my forces in a frontal assault while you attack the city from the rear.
An aggressive ploy, milady. So long as we get our capital back, I'll stick to whatever strategy you wish.
Give the order. Let the attack commence. It's over, Balnazar. Varamothras.
Yes, my lady.
Kill him.
But it is forbidden for one of the Nathrazim to kill another. My defection was one thing, but this...
I require one last test of your loyalty, Dreadlord. Do it.
You wouldn't dare.
There, your business is done. Now I want you wretched animals out of my city before I...
Kill him, too.
Gladly.
The capital city is ours, but we are no longer part of the Scourge. From here on out, we shall be known as the Forsaken. We will find our own path in this world, Dreadlord, and slaughter anyone who stands in our way.
And that's how the Forsaken was formed. Now, just because we've been live for 90 minutes, does everyone want to take a quick 3-minute break so they can grab a drink, go to the bathroom, grab a snack, and refresh a little bit? Because we've seen a big chunk of the story. Come on. Break gives no XP. Are you guys serious? No break? You know you want a drink. You know you want a coffee. You're late because of... Let's take a quick break just to give everyone. It's only a 3-minute break, Matt. It won't be that long. A quick 3-minute break to grab a coffee, grab a drink. We'll be right back. It is honestly one of the best stories. Like, at the time this was released, it was the shit. It was the shit. Story-wise, gameplay-wise, so many people were playing it. And even to today, the story still lives up because it's so well made. And there's books behind it. So this is just the game itself. The world that it builds is very vast. There's books, there's games. It's just amazing. All right, quick 3-minute break. We'll be right back. Feel free if you want to just continue chatting here. Matt's here, so he'll be more than happy to talk. You'll be able to hear him. I'm going to go grab a quick coffee. I'll be back in 3 minutes. I won't play ads. I won't do anything like that. Okay. You guys can keep chatting for the meantime. Matt will look after you. Matt, look after them. They can hear you. I'll be right back in 3 minutes.
So, one of the things that the timeline of this thing, Warcraft timeline is set in a weird way. Year 0 is when Warcraft 1 happened. So everything after that. So we're currently in the 30 and 35, which is 35 years since Warcraft 1, since the opening of the Dark Portal. I believe we're in 35. The timeline is a bit wonky in some areas. Basically, it's not concrete evidence, but basically it's 35 years, give or take. I'll be happy to answer any question. And yes, in case some of you can tell, I hate Sylvanas. And before any of you say, oh, but you play Alliance. No, I actually play hard. I play hard and I think she's a scumbag. She's a genocidal, homicidal maniac. Besides, I'm a demon hunter. All hail Lord Illidan. I play both factions. The reason I say Alliance main is because I'm a GM of one of the largest. I'm a GM of one of the largest guilds in World of Warcraft. I am GM of the Tradechat chapter of the Old Gods, a guild that is 12 servers. Soon to probably expanding to 13th and 14th server, but the problem with Sylvanas loyalist, I'm a person who believes in honor. In a way. Saurfang is a better character. Saurfang is a character that I don't think people understand how badass he is. And they don't understand that or get that from him in World of Warcraft, which I have profusely stated in the past that Saurfang is better than Sylvanas. Sylvanas gets away because she's hot, not because she's a good character. Here's the thing. You have to understand. He had been through every battle you can think of. He's still... Me and Kuma had a live stream. It's on a channel where you can hear about us talk about honor for the, like, an hour and a half between Sylvanas and Saurfang.
Now,
it's not trying to die. He wants his...
That's a very good discussion, and there's a lot of points. I think this is sort of a gateway thing where you're introduced, and this is sort of the foundation of the story being Warcraft III. And from there, people typically are interested in a few characters, and they jump into and they start reading about them, and they start watching their cinematics, and they start learning more about the world. For me personally, I like Sylvanas as a character very much. She was one of my favorites from Warcraft 3. And just in the most recent mission that you saw, I'll give this as an example. She's not only a skilled warrior herself, she's, you know, a master of the bow. She's effectively like one of the best archers in Warcraft. But on top of that, she's amazing when it comes to melee. On top of that, she's an amazing strategist. She was the Ranger General of Silvermoon. She was effectively in charge of the defense of Silvermoon. And she's around, I think, 10,000 years old, give or take. So she's quite a seasoned veteran. On top of that, when you look at this mission, you just take a look at how she handled the situation. She took the Dreadlord prisoner because he could be useful, but she was at any point prepared to kill him. As soon as, you know, he tries to betray her, she's more than willing to kill him on the spot. So she used his knowledge, got to the enemy base camp of the other Dreadlord, and then when his grip over the humans broke, she didn't just kill them and then try to raise them into the undead, which she could have done. She instead said, well, look, we have a common enemy. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't care about the city. I want him dead. You want your city back. Let's help each other. Kill him. City's yours. And they're like, cool. And then she lures him into a false sense of security by saying, okay, we're going to attack him head on. As in, my army will attack the enemy head on, while you go around the back where he's not expecting you and attack, right? I'm taking all the risk. So, puts the humans in a false sense of security, believing that, hey, we're getting the good end of the deal. In fact, she could just grab the enemy's attention and not do anything, not even push forward, and the humans do all the hard work. You can effectively play that mission that way if you wanted, and you would still win. So she's a cunning tactician. And then, when she's won, she makes the Dreadlord kill his brother. Well, a brother or a comrade, which they're not allowed to do. She knows about this, but she does it as a test of loyalty. Above all else, once the Dreadlord kills one of the other Dreadlords, which is what he's forbidden to do, she knows that the other Dreadlord won't side with him because he's cut that tie, he's cut that alliance, he's sort of crossed that line. He can't just say, well, I was pretending to be on her side so I could run away, right? All the people that are dead are mindless undead, right? No loss. Whereas when you kill one of your comrades, it's a completely different story. So she effectively forces him to burn that bridge. And even then, she doesn't fully trust him. So I love the complexity of the character and how much she thinks.
I want to point out one thing. Don't feel bad for the human she had killed. He is literally one of the worst characters. If you want anyone who, if Sylvanas, Windrunner, and Blackhand, and Gul'dan are the worst of the Horde, Kel'thuzad is one of the worst of the Alliance. This son of a bitch did so many things wrong. I could go on for hours on what is wrong with this man. Put it this way, that was too good for him.
Oh yeah, when you start getting, and mind you, we're only looking at the story of Arthas and Sylvanas in these cutscenes. There's more. There's also the story of Thrall, who is effectively the messiah of the orcs, and he grew up in an internment camp since he was a kid. And those camps can effectively be compared to the living conditions that they had in the Russian gulags in the Soviet Union, as well as the death camps in, Nazi Germany. That's what it was like. That's how the humans treated the orcs. So, some of the people that die in these storylines, you don't exactly feel sympathy for because they're assholes to begin with, but they're not that integral to the plot. But it's dark. Don't think that this game exactly sugarcoats a lot, because it doesn't. If you pay a little bit of attention to, the background of what's going on, you see decapitated people, you see people on a spike like Vlad the Impaler used to do, you see people hanging by their arms until they, it's a dark game. It's the people that made Diablo. It's a little lighter, but it's still dark. So let's press on a little bit. We should definitely press on a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's continue on with the story. It's a good one, and then we'll continue the discussion. And that'll open the doorway to a lot of other things.
These elves are pathetic. It's no wonder we destroyed their homeland so easily.
Pity I wasn't there to stop you. It's been a long time, Arthas.
Prince Kel'thuzad, I haven't seen you since... You lead these elves?
This group, at least. What you faced here was merely a scouting force. Defeating Lord Illidan's army will be far more difficult.
Illidan? He's behind this invasion?
He is. Our forces are vast, Arthas. Even now they march upon the Icecrown Glacier. You'll never make it in time to save your precious Lich King. Consider this payment for Quel'Thalas and other insults.
Okay, to give you a little bit of context on that, there's a reason why he turned up and showed up in front of Arthas like that. Here's why. He actually had a thing for Jaina Proudmoore. They both studied in Dalaran. He had a crush on Jaina. Jaina wasn't so into him. Jaina was more into Arthas because, he was Prince Charming with the long blonde hair. So there's a little bit of that still going on. It does have a lot to do with him destroying his entire city, but it's also a little bit of a dick measuring contest at the end of the day. Let's keep going.
And one thing, Jaina just at the passing comment had very awful taste in men.
Let's not go there. Not today. Not today. Just for all intents and purposes, Kel'thuzad and Arthas, dick measuring contest. Kel'thuzad lost, even though he was a prince. Both princes, right? It's not exactly like one's a common or one's a prince. They're both princes. Except this one lost, and he's still got a chip on his shoulder. Just saying. And when it comes to men, it's always dick measuring, it is.
Make haste. My enemies draw near. Our time is almost spent. Are you well, Death Knight?
My powers are weakening, but I'll be all right. He's right. We'll never reach the glacier in time.
There is another route we might take, Death Knight. The ancient shattered kingdom of Azul-Narub lies deep below us. Though it has fallen on dark times, it could provide us a direct shortcut to the glacier.
We have little choice. Lead on, Anubarak. You're certain we can reach the glacier through these tunnels?
Nothing is certain, Death Knight. The ruins will be perilous, but it's worth the risk.
All right, let's go. We've been walking for hours. We've got to quicken our pace. The Lich King is defenseless without us.
I left many of my warriors at Icecrown before I came to find you, Death Knight. They will hold the line for as long as they are able.
Tell me, where are all of your people? Shouldn't there be Nerubians around here, undead or otherwise?
I've been wondering about that myself. Something must have driven them all off.
We did, you rotting bastards! We've been watching you all along!
Muradin's dwarves. Impossible. Doesn't anyone stay dead anymore?
We've been wandering this forsaken land ever since you killed Muradin and left us to rot, Arthas. Our leader, Baelgun, led us into the ruined city to survive. But there's no way we're letting you in.
We have no time for these games. Saphiron, attack!
I remember you, evil prince. You're the one that killed poor Muradin.
Get over it already.
I won't let you through this door, traitor. The recent quakes have awakened dark things under the ice. Ancient, horrid things. We vowed to keep them locked where they are.
We'll take our chances, dwarf. We're going through that door, one way or another. The air smells awful in here. Something doesn't feel right.
If the dwarf's story was true, there's no telling what awaits us in the darkness. This stairwell leads into the heart of the old Nerubian Empire. We must be cautious.
By all means. You first.
You will die. It cannot be. A forgotten one. Look to your defenses, Death Knight. Fight as you've never fought before. We cannot take them all. Hurry, Death Knight! Up the stairwell! Hurry!
You are weak.
We're running out of time, Anubarak. How far are we from the exit?
Not far. We have entered the Upper Kingdom. The exit should lead us to the base of the glacier itself. However, there are still hidden traps and pitfalls to account for.
Take cover!
Arthas!
The entire passage collapsed. There's no time to dig through this. I'll have to move quickly and find my own way out. Hopefully Anubarak and the others survived. You made it.
I see now why the Lich King chose you as his champion, Death Knight. Few men could have survived this labyrinth alone. Now quickly, head through that door. The exit to the surface lies just beyond.
It'll be good to see the sun again.
Remember, Illidan and the true battle still await us in the world above. Hopefully our trek through the Dark Earth bought us the precious time we needed.
Just to answer your question as to what those little green things about the weapons are, they're basically items or enchantments that the person in-game had equipped. So they all have this little color to basically show that the weapon is stronger than it would normally be. That's all it basically is.
We've made it in Ubarak. Our forces are already assembled and waiting.
Greetings, King Arthas. You've arrived just in time. Illidan's Naga and Blood Elf forces have taken up positions at the base of the glacier and...
Arthas, my champion. You have come at last.
Master?
There is a fracture in my prison, the frozen throne, and my energies are seeping from it. That is why your powers have diminished.
But how?
The rune-blade Frostborn was once locked inside the throne as well. I thrust it from the ice, so that it would find its way to you, and then lead you to me.
Behold, Muradin, our salvation. Frostborn.
I dearly hope that there's a special place in hell waiting for you, Arthas.
We may never know, Uther. I intend to live forever. And I still feel no remorse, no shame.
No! You wouldn't dare. In the end, death claims us all.
It pains me to even look at you, Arthas.
He whispers to you through the blade you wield.
Sorry, Arthas. I can't let you
What
do
does he
this.
say on human?
Do you really think you can test it to you, Arthas?
Is vengeance all that's important to you?
And so it has. Now you face a grave danger. My creator, the demon lord Kil'jaeden, sent his agent here to destroy me. If they should reach the frozen throne before you, all will be lost. The scourge will be undone. Now hurry. I will grant you all the power I can spare.
I saw another vision of the Lich King. He has restored my powers. I know now what I must do. It's time to end the game, once and for all. Time's running out in Ubarak. We've got to get inside the throne chamber before Illidan does.
The throne chamber lies within the frozen peak at the center of the valley. It can only be opened by activating the 4 enchanted obelisks that surround it. Illidan's forces have already entrenched themselves near 2 of them. We'll need to drive them back and reactivate the obelisks ourselves.
We're sorry to interrupt your meditation, Master, but all our forces are in place.
Once the chamber is opened, we will destroy the frozen throne, as promised.
Then the hour has come at last. After today, the scourge will meet its end. Can you hear me out there, Arthas? Its end!
For a little bit of context as to why he's starting to look like a Dreadlord, if you recall a bit earlier, Arthas told him about the skull of Gul'dan. He absorbed it, and by absorbing the power of Gul'dan, he's effectively become more demonic in appearance, but also more powerful as well. The whole story of Illidan itself is pretty much the same lengths as Arthas's and Sylvanas's. It's a whole nother campaign and it's its own interesting topic, and he even had a expansion dedicated to himself being the Burning Crusade, so...
I will sum it up very quickly for you, Kuma.
without giving away too much, because I'm sure they're going to actually want to watch it themselves. So keep it, I want to keep it light to give them the context without spoiling it. It's a fun watch. So let's just keep it where it is.
Hold on.
Illidan has mocked the Scourge long enough. It's time we put the fear of death back in him. We've done it, Anubarak. The throne chamber is open. This is the hour of the Scourge. The frozen throne is mine, demon. Step aside. Leave this world and never return. If you do, I'll be waiting.
I have sworn to destroy it, Arthas. It must be done.
Never.
I've never actually watched this, by the way. I think that answers your question. you gotta admit, that as a story, oh my god.
My son, the day you were born, the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name Arthas. Child, I watched with pride as you grew into a weapon of righteousness. Remember, our line has always ruled with wisdom and strength. And I know you will show restraint when exercising your great power. Victory, my son, is stirring the hearts of your people. I tell you this, for when my days have come to an end, you shall be king.
So what you just watched was the Wrath of the Lich King trailer, which is an expansion for World of Warcraft. So imagine this. Everyone has played Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne comes out, which is an expansion to Warcraft 3. Years later, World of Warcraft comes out. For several years, I believe it was 3, 4, or 5 years, everyone was playing the vanilla version, which is the standard one, where Kel'thuzad is the final boss. Then the Burning Crusade comes out, where everyone's playing that game for 2 years. That's where you fight Illidan. And then you could imagine 2-3 years later, this trailer plays at BlizzCon. And everyone shits themselves with excitement, because they've been waiting so many years since Warcraft 3, the Frozen Throne, to see Arthas. So, yeah, it was an iconic moment. Like, you can't imagine if there was a trending tab at the time, this would have been trending for a week on the internet.
Oh yeah,
it was the shit. Even here in Australia, I was in high school at the time. I know multiple people from my year group that waited for the midnight launch in the middle of the Sydney CBD, because that's where they were able to get the game at midnight. It was a huge event across the whole world. It wasn't a small thing. It was the thing. World of Warcraft at the time peaked at about 20 million players at the time.
12 million.
Was it 12 million? I thought it was 20.
No, it never. So, the highest Blizzard ever gone with World of Warcraft was 12 million at the end of Wrath. That's why people say Wrath was the last great expansion. It was the peak, because it literally went downhill after that. They've gotten to 10 couple times.
It's
been so bad they don't even list how much the sub numbers anymore.
And you have to take a look at it that after Warcraft 3, World of Warcraft was an MMO. You could play and be in the world of Warcraft as your own character. You would go and join a faction, which would either be the Alliance or the Horde. You would pick a race. You know, you could be a human, you could be an orc, you could be a troll, you could be an undead. Who else am I missing? You can be a night elf.
You can be a sexy blood elf.
No, that was an expansion. So you pretty much make a character, you join the world, you do quests, you do stories, you venture through the world, you make an impact, you join the war campaign against the undead.
The gnome.
Forgot the gnomes. Everyone forgets the gnomes and the dwarfs. You join the campaign against the Scourge in the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. When that expansion finishes, you join the campaign against Illidan and the Burning Legion in Outland. And when that finishes, you go to Northrend. The whole expansion was Northrend, which is where the Frozen Throne is, and that was the expansion. So you're fighting against the undead, and the final boss was Arthas, the Lich King. And that was the pinnacle of World of Warcraft. That is the moment everyone that was playing World of Warcraft was waiting for. And trust me, the fight was a bitch. Anyone that was there at the time can tell you dozens of stories of how bullshit the fight was. It was epic for that very. It was epic for that very reason. It was just amazing. I remember watching the video of the first guild in the world to kill it, and everyone was watching that video. I don't know. Let's see the rest of what this video has. But we might even play it after this if it's not part of this. Did you have something to say, Matt?
No? What fight are you talking about?
The Lich King fight at the end of Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah, I've known since I'm watching that. I've actually done. I'm probably the only person here I would guess who actually did Lich King heroic.
Oh, I did it.
But I don't want. Yeah, I didn't want to content.
Oh, I did it a while ago, and trust me, it was a bitch. It was a bitch. It took a while to kill. Anyways.
And I don't want to watch that again.
Alright, let's go and see what's left for the remainder of this video, and we'll see how we can do a discussion, what else we can watch after that.
Can watch the Modraxis thing. I linked it here in Discord.
What the fuck?
Oh yeah, this is the ending for Executus.
No matter where I am, feel the power and the energy from the power of the
That was unexpected, but that pretty much sums up what Blizzard used to be like when they were making Wrath of the Lich King. They love their rock music. They love their beer.
Kuma.
Yeah.
To anyone who wonders who that is the lead singer is Samaro, who is voiced by Sam Wyatt Dillinger. He's one of the artists at Blizzard Entertainment. Signitus, who played the guitar of Signity. Burkrest, which is the undead, played by Dave Buckingham. Mike Carl, the troll, is the owner and former owner and CEO, Mike Morheim. And Chief Thunderskin, the drummer, is Alan DeBreed. Yeah, these are people who worked at Blizzard Entertainment who are very high up in the company. They had their own band. They opened for Metallica. How many people do you know can say, I opened for Metallica?
That's pretty fucking good. That's pretty fucking good.
Look it up. It's BlizzCon. They opened for Metallica. Metallica ended up performing. I was there. And holy shit, that was loud.
You'd certainly hope it was loud. No one in the city was sleeping that night. And there are multiple books, and there's a whole nother series of videos that I want to watch on another stream with you guys that goes into the backstory of everything that happened surrounding Arthas and the Lich King. This is the foundation of the story of what happens in the game, and then behind that you have the books and the stories. We'll probably get that into another stream, and that's a journey on his own, because there's so much on the back end that you don't realize, and then when you see the game again, you pick up these little subtleties, and it's just beautiful. It really is beautiful. There's a whole backstory to it, and it's just absolutely magnificent. Everything from what Arthas' childhood was like, how he was as a young prince, and then his motivations going into the war.
He told me to wait till later.
He
told me to wait till later.
Yeah.
Anyone, if you want to know more about it, go get Arthur. Rise of the Lich King. It's written by Christopher Golden. It's one of the best books. You will learn about Arthur's life, his rise, and his eventually fall into the Lich King. It will go into a lot of the depth that this didn't get into. Like the battle Jaina and Arthur fought against the undead. It goes into that. It goes into the aftermath. It goes into why Arthur did what he did. And you'll have a more of appreciation for the character.
Basically, the video series I'm talking about is it's a synopsis of Arthas' Rise of the Lich King, and it has a few extracts from the book of very impactful moments that have shaped Arthas into who he is, which is why I love that video series so much. I haven't seen it in a few years, but it's a really good one. I'm thinking of watching it with you guys next week. It's really worthwhile, and it's kind of one of those extracts that really put into my mind that I maybe should read the books, because it's just listening to what was written was just absolutely. You'll see what I mean next week if you turn up and we watch it. It's just phenomenal, and it adds so much to the story. And then once you appreciate one character, you decide to jump into another one. When it comes into whether or not it's worth entering World of Warcraft, it really comes down to how interested you are, one, in the story, and two, the gameplay. It is an RPG. It has been around for a while. There is a new expansion coming out, and this is sort of the time, if you're interested, to jump into it. Personally, I always... Yeah, that. But I also recommend first watching a few more Warcraft videos and sort of piquing your interest, and then when you get a more of an idea of what the world is like, you really get into it. You start watching the cutscenes, you start watching the cinematics, you start watching the discussion videos, you start turning up to live streams like this and discussing and exploring different parts of the story, and that's when you really get into it. And so at that point, if you decide to get into the game, it's a lot more meaningful, because you have all that history at the back of your mind, and you're actually excited to play the game. You're excited to visit certain parts in the game. The impact of meeting certain characters holds weight because you know who they are, you know what they've done. You like certain characters, you dislike certain characters, you know, you like certain factions, you don't like certain factions, and then you really start feeling like you're actually in the world of Warcraft and you're actually playing it, not just, you know, killing mobs for experience. So I'd highly recommend first diving a little more into the videos and the world before jumping into the game. And again, the next expansion's coming out in, like, I believe 2 months, and up until then it's going to be a pre-patch, and that's sort of a good time to do it.
So it's gonna be in about less than 2 months, but the pre-patch is probably gonna happen anywhere from the 22nd to the it's either gonna be the 22nd or the 29th, just because that actually lines up perfectly to launch it 1 month from the launch of the game.
Yeah.
Now, I would recommend, since we're talking about Shadowlands, look at the DM, and you'll see I linked you the Afterlives Maltraxa.
I already downloaded it. We're going to watch that at the end of this one. But yeah, I highly recommend diving into more. Let's finish up this video first. There's still a little more to go. I don't know what the other video clip is. We'll wrap up this one, and then we'll jump into the other one. And then hopefully next week we can watch the video series that has more of a backstory on Arthas, Rise of the Lich King, as well as the Lich King in general. Oh god, I wonder what this one is.
Storm, earth, and fire, heed my call. And that concludes our demonstration. Any questions?
Welcome back to Jaina in the Morning.
We're here with Malvengeroth, Hunter of Night, and his girlfriend Kim. Now, Kim, you think you're here for a makeover, right?
Yeah?
Mal, why don't you tell us why you're really here?
Well, Kim Cake, I love you, but I have something to tell you. I'm a demon. Actually, more of a pit lord.
What? I don't understand. I thought you said you worked for the post office.
Well, I moonlight.
Ugh, I hate these running gags.
I don't know what to make of that last one.
I'll be honest.
I don't even know what to say.
Back when World of Warcraft was still fresh and Machinima was a thing, so many people were making memes and Machinima shows, and some of them were absolutely glorious that you would almost die laughing. That sort of skit is kind of an example of the type of shit posting they used to do. Now, mind you, Blizzard at the time themselves made some of this content. They saw what people in the community were doing, and they said, we want in on this. So they basically got the voice actors, voice actresses, the animation team, got in-game models, and they made their own shitposts. That's what Blizzard used to be like. And that's why we loved it. What changed? Chris Metzen stopped leading the company, for one. And then Activision acquired it, and then And then they recently removed a scene in one of the expansions where a character called Sylvanas a bitch. Because, you know, what is it, 6-7 years after the fact, some people were offended by it. Now, to be fair, what Sylvanas did at the time was what could be interpreted as a bitch move. But yeah, they removed it because 2020, ladies and gentlemen.
I've said it in the beginning, and I'll say it here. Sylvana is a bitch. Gera did nothing wrong.
We're going to get into more characters and more parts of the story. But at the very least now you're familiar with who Sylvanas is. You're familiar with who the Lich King on, you know, an entry level is, who Arthas is. And the more we watch these things, the more of a picture you'll have of the story. And then later you're just going to enjoy the buffet of content that is on YouTube of fight scenes between characters and pinnacle points in the expansions. And there are a lot of good ones. A lot. And just having background knowledge of them brings even more impact to them. Oh yeah, Illidan's got his own story, and it's a really good one. And when it comes to cutscenes and cinematics, Illidan has some of the best ones. And I'm telling you, some of the best ones.
Oh, hell, Lord Illidan.
He has some of the best ones. So yeah, Illidan's going to have his own live stream like Arthas and Sylvanas did for the story. I think possibly for next week, just to follow up, it might be a good thing to go through the Rise of the Lich King video series and a Lich King video series. And then that heavily ties into what's been going on with Illidan and Sylvanas. And then we explore their stories. And then it really starts to tie together the world. That is the World of Warcraft. And then you will, at the very least, know who all the, I wouldn't say minor characters, but not protagonist tier characters at the time are. And then you'll see how impactful it is. Because as soon as people like Arthas sort of leave the stage and Illidan leaves the stage, some of the non-main characters start becoming main characters. And they start becoming big players. And that's when the story really gets exciting. Okay. Depends on how tight. Oh, yeah, definitely. And of course, I'm going to 100% edit this out and pop it onto the gaming channel. So even if you miss some of the live stream or miss the full live stream, you're not going to miss the content. I'm going to pop it up on YouTube. And the cool thing about Blizzard is that they have absolutely no problem with you uploading their cutscenes and cinematics and discussing. They've got absolutely no problem with it, which is cool. So we're not going to encounter any of that copyright crap that we have with other companies. All right. We're going to do the reaction to the Afterlives cinematic now, which is what's leading up to Shadowlands. I haven't seen it yet. I wanted to save it for last because it's, you know, the little cherry on top. And I'm looking forward to next week. So we're going to use this as our unofficial live stream time for this sort of thing. And I'll do the same thing next week. So be excited for it. And as always, we're going to have the live streams over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday anyway. This is a bonus. So let's watch the Afterlives cinematic and see what that's all about. Because I haven't seen it. And I'm like 20 hours late to the party and Matt's already seen it. So it's time for me to see it.